Yeah. Yes. Is he here? Is he back? Okay, he is. I see him. All right, guys, welcome back. We are going to move into our next preliminary match very shortly. It's going to be another best of 5 for $10 between Flipside Tactics puCK as well as Team Gravity's SirRobin. But before we do that, they're working on their vetoes. Let's talk about some of the cool stuff that Fight Night has been into with our new sponsor, Spawning Tool.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Spawning tool, able to provide us with all kinds of cool information, especially for the upcoming parting Tasia match. So we'll be getting into that. But you can use spawning tool yourself to find out the simplest thing. Like it's this sort of thing, right? That people talk about, like what's in the meta game. What's the meta? And spawning tool can just be like, oh, this is literally, factually, the most common build right now in this matchup. You can be like, oh, okay, cool, that's great. You can also use it to find yourself like weird builds, like, oh, this is a weird build that works out. Almost no one does it. Maybe you'll have luck with it, It's pretty
Yeah.
sweet.
And then, of course, depending on the map, depending on the matchup, as well as the player, that's going to be a huge thing is, for those of us who are students of the game, we like to study, a lot of those really top level Korean players or whatever. You sort of look at their tendencies, what they, typically do given the circumstances of each game and their success rates with it. That's something that no other replay website or tool has really provided before. Every other replay site that I've seen has really focused on that individual game, the stats, the APM, the spending skill, as they call it. But beyond that, there hasn't really been a big picture kind of thing looking at metagame and trends and like that. So Spawning Tool is like, able to provide that. And their new sponsorship of Team Gravity Fight Night is going to help out a lot as we, try to bring these games, bring even better players and better gameplay for you guys. Going on 19 weeks now, counting. We have no plans to stop it, man. Every week, hitbox.tv/Team Gravity.
Oh yeah, man, it is awesome. And I think additionally too, it's sort of like it sort of flips the idea of the replay site on its head, where normally it's about me, right? I'm the player. I want to look at my replays and see how I'm doing. That's usually the kind of thing. But
Yeah.
the search functionality with spawning tool, it's all about, okay, what is everybody else doing? I'm gonna check
Yeah.
out what everybody else is doing, and
Yeah.
even especially, oh my god. You guys can't see this, but puCK is like vetoing in all caps with like repeated letters. He's like, expedition law. It's fucking great. Anyway, but in any case, it's sort of, you can be like, okay, as a professional player, I've got a match as SirRobin going up against puCK. I'm gonna look at all of puCK's games in this matchup, and I'm gonna say, okay, this is the build he tends to do on this map. This is the way he tends to play, and you can look at all those replays and say, okay, where are the weaknesses? How do I play against this particular style? What games has he lost with this style? And and what things can I take out of that? So it's really cool, just from like a like you said, students of the game, like an analysis standpoint is really nice, and it sort of pushes the idea of being more secretive as a professional player, more stingy with your replays, which is already very much a thing,
Yeah.
with the whole don't show the build orders, don't show match history. Those things are definitely touchy subjects for professional gamers trying to keep hold of their secret strats before they get released out and everyone figures out exactly how to deal with them.
Yeah, that's true. That's always a thing. But then, of course, when it comes to those big tournaments, it's kind of obligated at the point that, your replays are saved in the property of that organizer of the tournament. And then, well, of course, you were also casted and streamed for everyone to see. So, if you couldn't quite catch those, or you don't have exactly that kind of time or attention span in analyzing, the statistics of a replay is something that's more up your alley. Hey, new sponsor Spawning Tool is a great way to go about doing that. Looks like we have our first map. It is going to be Expedition Lost LE for game number 1. So that's going to be interesting for both these players. puCK, of course, being one of the premier Protoss players coming out of North America for many years now. SirRobin, he's been on top of his game before in the past. He's been making his comeback for the last few months and on the rise as well as far as the NA Zerg scene. So be curious to see how he will fare here in this preliminary match.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a chance to hang out with SirRobin at the Game Fest in Atlanta, which was really fun, and got to meet him and talk with all the other Atlanta folks. So if you're over at Georgia Tech, hearts to you. You're all awesome. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, super cool guy. Very great to talk to. He did lose a bit to some 3-base blink, and he was dealing with that at the time. It was right after the Swarm host nerf, so there was the big scramble to figure out exactly what to do in this matchup. But I mean, as far as ZVP goes, post-patch, the blink builds are still pretty strong. Those longer game sort of macro blink builds.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually interesting because I know that puCK does like to use blink a lot. I mean, some players just go nuts with it. They'll go just nothing but blink. That's not what puCK does. He does, throw in robo here and there when he needs to, but blink is a big part of his game. And given that you mentioning that Jack Attack, that's something potentially puCK could try to use against SirRobin. We got a couple of new followers in our chat, so I just want to give a shout out to those guys. Thanks for following us here on hitbox.tv/Team Gravity. As you know, if you do follow us, you will be notified of when we do have these events every week, almost every Sunday. Time might be a little different here and there, depending on what else is going on in the StarCraft scene. But if you follow us, you will always be apprised of when these show matches go live. And then, of course, there's also the subscribe functionality, by the way, too, guys, where you can help support our team here and hosting these events. Really helps out a lot, and we really appreciate it. You also get some benefits too as far as posting GIFs in chat. I know some guys were wondering about the ability to do that. That's subscribers only, guys, as well as emotes that are really cool looking. And there's still that promotion that's been running on forever now, but who knows how much longer. You get that $5 gift certificate for G2A.com when you subscribe, so you get your monies back immediately. You can use that to buy all kinds of computer games on that website, as well as, hey, even a second StarCraft account if you need one. So
that's right. I mean, you just got to rack up those accounts, because first of all, you want to play on your own server, right? Because that's where you get the best lag. And then, you want different MMRs for each of the races that you play, because you're awesome. You play all the races, right? So that's 3 accounts. But then, again, you want to see, like, okay, overall, as a random player, how good am I as a Oh, then that's account number 4 right there. And you might say, oh, well, there's an unranked account too, so that's technically I get 2 MMRs per account. No, forget about that. It's about the shiny border and the badge. If you don't get those, what are you even doing? Why are you even playing StarCraft? Let's really consider that there. So get your 4 StarCraft accounts, those standard 4 accounts that you all should have. And you can do that with help from G2A, and all you have to do is subscribe. It's basically like free for the first month, because you're just saying, oh, I'm gonna spend this money on StarCraft, which you should probably be doing anyway. Let's think about it.
Indeed, man. 5 years going, this game is still so fun to watch and cast, and I'm sure you guys feel the same because you're with us here today. So thank you. We're finally ready here in the lobby. We're going to get started very soon, as the players just need to give their signals. And then we're going to get into it. Expedition Lost LE Game 1 between SirRobin and puCK. And they're still waiting on puCK. puCK maybe needs a minute to think, but too shy to say that. Unlike VSTQ.
Yeah, maybe it's just like, I don't need a minute to think. My cat fell over a ladder. I'll be right back. Whatever it might be. And
all right, guys. Game's loading, and we'll see you there.
Team Gravity presents Fight Night.
Y'all ready for this?
All right, guys, here we go. Game 1, Expedition Lost LE. Going to be a ZVP this time around. First player is going to be this purple Zerg, guys, on the upper right-hand side. representing Team Gravity, a teammate of mine, guys. This is going to be SirRobin.
And spawning down here, his opponent in the bottom left, hailing from Team Flipside Tactics, it's the red Protoss, puCK.
So, taking a look at the poll, guys, we do have that poll going on again. If you don't know what that is, it's because you're not watching on Hitbox, you're watching on Team Liquid or something, which is great, but come over to hitbox.tv/teamgravity and take part in this poll, because right now it does appear that 63.6% of people believe SirRobin is going to defeat puCK. We've already seen some dissenters in the chat, and you know what that means. It means you need to get your voices heard if you don't think that's right.
Man, it is very intense. People even talking about the cow level, man. So I mean, stuff in the chat's going wild. If you are watching on Team Liquid, you're doing it wrong. You're just doing it wrong. It's okay. You know, everyone's wrong sometimes. This time that's you. Get over on Hitbox, come hang out with us, and have a good time. In the game, we are looking like a fair number of workers over here without a gateway from puCK.
Yep.
Leading me to believe we got a little bit of Nexus First action going on.
Yeah, I mean, we're on 16 now. That can only be the next step. And of course, it is always interesting when you're the Protoss on a two-player map like Expedition Lost Ellie going for Nexus First. I have to wonder if there's some element of metagame going on here, because I do, you know, I don't play at this level, but I talk to a lot of people who do, and they all tend to say that SirRobin generally goes for that 15 hatch. So if that's common knowledge, that could be the reason why we're seeing a 16 Nexus here from puCK.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's funny, as the development of StarCraft has come along, you know, just the builds have just been getting greedier and greedier and greedier and greedier. And now we are at this just, you know, before it was like, okay, you can get a Nexus first, but you got to get a Forge. Now it's just like, no, you don't even need to get a Forge. Just get the Nexus first, get a gateway and just forget about the Forge. Don't make any units for the first 5 minutes of the game. You'll be fine. Don't even worry about it. It's totally okay. No one's going to cheese you. And, you know, that is the current meta. And we are being nice and economic on both sides of the fields this time around.
Yeah, sometimes the irony is you try these kinds of greedy openings in lower leagues where cheese is definitely much more used. And you can even find yourself losing even if you're a higher level player, which of course makes for really frustrating situations. But obviously that's not the case here. There is some kind of understanding, some kind of mutual understanding here.
Yeah, you know, or you try it against, you know, Scarlet and she proxy hatches in your main and you die and you're very embarrassed. But in any case, like we were saying before, I mean, at least he has a Zealot. He's got something going on here. Through the Zealot, didn't skip the Zealot. Thank goodness for a single unit. But yeah, just I think a big part of it is a lot of players have really got their worker control down to a very fine degree. Losing two so far though.
Yeah, not so much.
So Robin's doing he's doing really well with these two Zerglings. I don't see a lot of damage come down with that many Zerglings, but you know, just kudos to SirRobin for really getting the best bang for his buck. Look at that. He's even leading. Will he get that probe? That would have been he led the Zealot off to the side with the weakened Zergling to see if he'd get one more kill. But I mean, 2 kills for 2 Zerglings. I'll do that every game. I'm totally okay with that as a Zerg player. You gotta be happy, feeling good about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially most of the time, the Zerglings are just used for scouting. That's about it. And then they pull back to the tower or something, right?
Yep.
But here you get 2 kills on top of it. It's very cost effective, so SirRobin has to be happy with it. In the meantime, though, puCK is just gonna, you know, keep on keeping on here. Starting on his wall in the front there, a couple of gateways, another gateway in the main base. How many is that in total right now, Jack?
Oh, gateway
5,
plus gateway
4.
plus gateway plus gateway plus gateway. It's oftentimes 6 gateways, and that's how many we have so far in total. Will he go for a 7th? For those of you who are new to StarCraft, when you build this many gateways off of 2 bases, it often means, not always, but often means that there will be a large attack upcoming. He is making a large investment in his army, and when you do that, it puts you in an excellent position to make an attack. So Robin's third base is finishing up. Have the queen in position, and a lot of this is going to be about scouting. Most Zergs have their overlord times down. They say, okay, this is the time where the gateway explosion will be going down. I know we need to go in and take a look. A lot of sentries coming out so far, but other than that, just no tech at all from puCK.
Yeah, and I'm inclined to think he is going to stay on 6. Well, now, obviously, because it's kind of late to put down your 7. But he stays on 6 because he is mining fully saturated. Well, not fully saturated. He's mining fully saturated on 3 assimilators. There's a 4th built, but still curiously empty. But if there's that much gas being mined, there's going to be more emphasis on building these gas-heavy sentries. And then, of course, 7 gateways may be a little too many. Although we are seeing now a 3rd Nexus being built as well, and the Twilight Council on the way afterwards.
Twilight Council and a Forge. It's going to be interesting. And I really like this. Like I was saying, not always does it mean there is an attack. And this kind of a style I've really liked and always sort of theorized about since like pretty much the beginning of StarCraft, where it's like the warp gate functions very similarly to the larva mechanic in that if you have a bunch of larvae, you can react to scouting information and quickly make units when you need to, but hold off until it's, until the time is right. In the same way, you can do that with these warp gates. If something were to happen and he were to need a lot of units, he'd be able to crank them out really quickly. Could he constantly crank out on, 6 warp gates while making probes on all 3 bases? Probably not. I haven't done the math just yet, but I'm going to say probably not. But he uses those to sort of bank up to be safe and to sort of help him prep for this attack a little bit. And SirRobin scouting it now. He's going to be in a bit of a trouble. Going to lose an Overlord here. Any damage that you can get is nice damage. This is the classic pylon spot, by the way. If you're a Zerg player, this is the spot. This is the spot where the pylon always is. Definitely want to secure the area if you can.
Yeah, high ground, of course, being able to just, keep that pylon in a safe position where the units are on the low ground, where the Zerg will likely go try to attack. Looking at SirRobin, how's he going to be ready for this? Well, he'll probably have to cancel this hatchery. I would imagine that's going to be the next course of action for him. But he is playing very economically here at 10 minutes. He's got a macro hatch already for a total of 4 as he will cancel this.
He can come around from behind here. Going to catch a couple of stalkers potentially.
SirRobin is going for roaches.
Yeah, these roaches are coming in too. Nice force fields, but he is going to get those 2 stalkers at the cost of some Zerglings. Almost get the full surround on him, just barely was able to pull through. Nice little wraparound over here, and the force fields are going to start running out here. 3 down already, and this is looking pretty nice for SirRobin, as long as he can keep cranking out his roaches. The problem is Blink and +1 finishing up. He is going to jump out of there, 1 base down. I love that macro hatch position. That's nice.
Yeah, right in the center of everything. Wherever you go, it's not going to be too far for reinforcements from there. But yeah, puCK is going to back off there and just wait for some of those upgrades to finish up. Bring even a couple Immortals later on. Wow, that's a lot of cannons at this 3rd base. And, it could be rightfully so because SirRobin does have a Spire ready. I don't see him utilizing it just yet. He's still committed for now to the ground forces here. He got the Roach upgrades, the Roach speed. He's getting +1 attack for melee, so he's going to keep it on Roach Sling for a while, it appears, while he is upgrading that Spire. So he does, have some plans on going air, just not quite yet.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, he was banking that gas and those minerals, waiting for the right time, and he decided that now is the time. Muta switch equals on, and we are going to have the massive Mutalisk explosion here from SirRobin. And look at those supplies. I mean, roaches are very supply heavy, but still, that's a pretty significant advantage here as far as just straight up army goes. There's 1 Immortal, and there are a handful of sentries. But if he engages in open ground, it's going to be nice. Ooh, nice force fields there, shaving off some of the units. He's going to back off. Gets to check to see, okay, you're on 3 base. He knows the situation he's in. He's going to be expanding at the same time over here up at the top. And I love this. Sending the mutas over here. There are a lot of cannons here, but will it be enough against 14 mutas?
Well, I imagine some warp-ins here to defend would also help. We've got a couple stalkers out here, and plus the 4 cannons. Well, if the stalkers do wander away from the cannons, then the mutas will be happy about it. And now that's going to
nice
bring
pickoffs here. And this is it. We're full engagement, not even doing any like, oh, I'll attack you from different angles kind of thing. Just both armies all in the same location here. Just barely grazes by that base. And oh, he's got a bit of a surround here on the low ground. Nice blink up to the top, using this choke really well. And this fight is not for SirRobin. He is going to pull back very intelligently here. And ooh, he's been taking off that observer. Always nice when you can manage to get rid of those pesky little observers. 12 mutas on the way.
Yeah, SirRobin continues adding on to the muta count. That's crucial that he doesn't lose those mutas, because even if those stalkers are designed for anti-air purposes, once you kind of get the air up to, you know, that critical number, it's even hard for stalkers to handle. And not to mention, SirRobin has been upgrading his mutas too. And while puCK is still on +1 attack,
he's put himself in a bit of a corner with his ground forces over here. This might be a little bit rough. Is he just going to move up into the high ground? He's got nowhere to go. He's going to kill that pylon, try to move up into the base here. He's basically suiciding these roaches in to deal damage, while you know, the army of puCK is stuck in the outside here. He should be able to get a decent amount of damage in. Stalkers warping in to defend. Workers going down, already 7, but this is a big army trading out for SirRobin. Despite the fact that a lot of damage is getting done, it's going to be really difficult to justify this amount of losses.
Yeah, but you know, one thing is there's a lot going on all over the place, and puCK now is sensing an opportunity to send in some counter-attack. Look at this. Zealots going in on a couple of these expansions through the Warp Prism, and that is going to be really good for puCK here, as SirRobin now is backing off in defeat from down at the bottom of the map. Now he's going to come over and try to defend. He's going to lose one of the bases. This third right here, really close.
Nice defense there.
That
was really important. He's going to lose his base over on the right side, though. He's completely caught out of position.
Yeah. And this Warp Prism play, huge, absolutely huge here for puCK. Dragging SirRobin wherever he wants him to go, and now...
Oh, but he didn't finish the wall, and there's a big run by in the south.
Oh, there is,
man,
yes.
He should be able to get all these workers fairly easily. He's going to go ahead and auto attack. He's going to cause the can to come in. He's... oh, man, I don't know about this, though. There's a lot of units of puCK in SirRobin's base right now.
Yeah, and he's bringing all the stalkers back to deal with the mutas. There are a lot of mutas, I have to say. 28 in total. +2 not quite finished on them. Oh, that natural is taken out. But so are these buildings of SirRobin, too. It's almost like a base trade. Although puCK doesn't have to commit his whole army to it.
Yeah, it's like a semi-base trade, you know? It's like, is it really a base trade if puCK's only got 8 stalkers in the base? But they're doing work. Wow, is he taking direct engagement? I don't know about that. Got a lot of mutas. It's really difficult to tell when that critical moment is, when you can just take the mutas and just straight up engage into a ball like that. And I don't think it was time just then.
Hey, but it's time for DTs.
Yeah.
This is that
Absolutely
time for DTs, yes.
That Dark Shrine is finishing up here. And we do have a bit of engagement. Oh, he's peeling off a lot of mutalisks here. The mutalisks are actually separated. This is... oh, that is absolutely horrendous. He's A-moving right now, which is why the mutalisks are stuck over into the side. And, oh man, he lost like half his mutalist force there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a miscalculation on the part of SirRobin, or he was focused on something else, because that was not a good engagement for him at all.
Yeah, well, I think he did an attack move at a certain point when he should have done a move command, and some of his mutalisks were closer to the army of puCK, so they just sort of started engaging, and they just never fully pulled away there. We'll have to see, though.
Yeah, I mean, that said, he's still ahead in supply. 135 to 110.
So, could be a game changer, as they oftentimes are. Let's take a look at what's going on here. No detection at all. Ooh, he's attacking the queen. A little bit of lost damage over there. Oh, man, this hatchery is super low and being turned to a lair.
Oh, and he's turning that into the lair. That's going to really be brutal, and SirRobin knows it. He knows it.
Just noticed, lol. When I tried to make an oh, no. GG. No lair means no overseers. No overseers means no detection. No detection means dead DTs. That's how it goes.
Well, there are spores, but yeah. I mean, it's times like these where DTs do come in handy, because, you know, you had a lot of crazy stuff going on, base trading and everything, and that's where you kind of just forget that Dark Templars are a thing. And then they come when you least expect it. So with that, SirRobin's going to be down 0-1 as puCK will take the victory there, and we are going to head very shortly into game number 2. So I don't know.
That was
What did you
nice,
think
huh?
about that matchup? I mean,
Crazy.
it was
Crazy game.
not kind of crazy. It wasn't one-sided or anything like that.
Oh yeah, well I mean you had just those. It was really hard to calculate exactly what was going on because you had those Ling run bys, and you still had the units in the main over there. You know, just those first two bases of puCK were completely cleaned out by Lings. It was basically like both players were just like, oh, you got Lings in my base. All right, whatever. It's like, oh, you got Stalkers in my base. All right, whatever. It was just sort of like letting it happen, being like, all right, I'm just gonna take the losses and do something else. Both sort of deciding that at the same time. It was interesting to see how it goes. And like you said, it was sort of like a semi-base race. It wasn't like a complete base race in that both players were on the other side of the map, but you know, each player having part of the army there, going back with the mutas. But I really think when that critical moment when he lost half his mutas was just too much to deal with. And the thing is, too, at that point in time, the army of puCK was split up. So if he could have engaged them one at a time with a full group of mutas, you know, he might have been able to pull out a victory there.
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, puCK made a calculated decision to leave like just a group of his stalkers in SirRobin's base while going home to defend. I think that's always such a tough decision to make when you're engaged in a base trade. Do you fully commit? Do you come home? By the time you come home, is it too late and you just, you know, ceded the race to your opponent? Like, that's always really tough decision making that can make or break the game. And looks like puCK made the decisions he needed to there to get that game one victory. But now down 0-1, we're going to be playing game 2 on Inferno Pools. And I wonder what SirRobin thinks about that. Because as you said earlier, Jack Attack, Inferno Pools is a strange map.
Yeah, you know, it's the best. Everyone loves it so much, and it's great. And when I say it sarcastically, that's because there are a couple of weird things about this map. A lot of maps that are 4-player maps are sort of rotationally symmetric in that, you know, each base is sort of equidistance. But in Inferno Pools, it's a little bit different. We'll go into that in just a second. But before we do, we're going to introduce these players over on the, oh god, close spawns, over in the bottom right-hand corner of our screen. We got Team Flipside Tactics, puCK.
And on the lower left, in the close position, as Jack Attack said, this is going to be the Blue Zerg representing Team Gravity and currently down 0-1. Ladies and gentlemen, this is SirRobin.
All right. Now, like we were talking about before, this is a weird map in that not all the spawning combinations are the same. And this is one of those special situations where you get that's called close spawns. You might think, oh, well, you know, all these bases seem about in the corners. They're all sort of about the same amount. But the main thing you have to consider is the terrain here. All these ramps sort of point directly toward your enemy. So that attack path from one base to the other, just because of that, just because the actual line of pathfinding from one base to the other makes the spawns close. You can't just go by the distance by air. And because of that, we're going to have a very sort of unique game on our hands. And that's kind of one of the reasons why it's difficult to prepare on this map, because you almost have to prepare for, you know, a couple of different maps depending on the spawn positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'm thinking from the perspective of the aggressive Zerg here. This is a great map and a great spawning position, because that gold in the center is a place where you can take your third base, and that will get your creep spread that much closer to your opponent. Your reinforcements come that much closer. So if you really want to mount that kind of, you know, 1-1 like Hydraling timing or something along those lines, this is not a bad place to be in right now. So let's see how puCK will play here. Looks like he has gone ahead with the gateway opener and then expanding afterwards. SirRobin is going to be 15 hatching once more and then doing the pull afterwards. Oh, there's going to be a pylon here. But there's no forge.
Yeah. But there's no scout on it. Like,
well,
normally you would do this to make them pull drones, right?
Yeah. Well, SirRobin did see the probe moving past the hatchery, so you moved his overlord immediately. But then, of course, you had to cancel the pylon before it finished, so that did nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if you're going to try to fake the cannon rush, you have to say, okay, is the Overlord in position to see me? No, it's not. Then you have to either A, build it close enough to the hatchery, which kind of gives away that you're faking the cannon rush, or, you just don't build it at all. Kind of that situation, pretty much every time is going to result in, oh, you're just going to cancel it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and, it's a nice thought, but it also does kind of throw a wrench into your build order if you do something like that as a Protoss and don't get really any benefits from it. But nonetheless, puCK is still going through with his plan here, starting that warp gate right now. Last game he went up to 6 gates, didn't quite all in on it. He just decided to take an expansion at the 3rd. Let's see if he's going to do that again. SirRobin, though, still working on droning and speed now, it looks like.
Yeah, puCK went for a very low-tech opening into a reasonably quick 3rd last time around. We'll wonder if we see that again. One of the big tells is what happens after the Cybernetics Core if we see any sort of tech coming down. Most of puCK's money right now is tied up in making probes and making those first couple of defending units. But as his bank starts to open up, that's when we're going to see, okay, does he throw down a Stargate or a Twilight a little bit earlier, or is he going to wait for that gateway explosion?
Now, last game we did see SirRobin. Oh, there's a Stargate right there. So, and I don't think SirRobin was around to see it. The Overlord's going to try to make that happen.
Oh, he's running away. No.
Yeah,
no, SirRobin, no. SirRobin ran away. SirRobin ran away and did not see the Stargate.
And lost the Overlord anyway.
So, I think sometimes, you have to be brave, SirRobin. You have to just be brave and, get in there and run in all the way. And he is going to go ahead and take a 3rd base here. But he doesn't know that it's Stargate. And he doesn't really know much of anything, right? It could be the same kind of low-tech opening as last time, or a Stargate, or a 2-base blade. He has no idea what's going on right now, which is a very scary position to be in.
We see puCK already here with a probe, just getting ready to put a pylon on there. Another great spot to do that on this map. Kind of like that spot you were talking about on Expedition.
Oh, yeah. It's the spot. That's where the pylon goes on this map. Sometimes you're just like, oh, well, he won't put it in the obvious spot. He'll put it somewhere else, though. Sometimes he won't look, but yeah, nice little position to be in here. And he is going for Phoenix instead of Oracle here, which I think is kind of fun. And +1 attack for, yeah, that's not a mistake. He's going for +1 attack for air.
That usually, cool stuff. Yeah, that usually signifies a commitment to air longer than that, 4 to 6 Phoenix that Protoss is getting, and then they just move on. Like, we'll see if that's going to be the case for puCK. But I guess the one thing is getting caught off guard by that is not as bad as getting caught off guard by Oracle, because then you're just really you lose a bunch of drones before you can do something about it. As far as Phoenix goes, yeah, I'll lose a couple Overlords at first. There's nothing he could have done about that anyway. Then the spores go up in the bases. It should be okay. But puCK is continuing to crank out the Phoenix.
Though, if he hides it long enough, and it looks like he will not be able to hide it long enough, you can really just get in there and show up with 5 Phoenix and just start killing queens off. And we're going to see the response now. Roaches coming out. That is sort of a big deal. That is going to be a pretty strong response from SirRobin. It's like, sure, why would he build roaches? Roaches can't kill Phoenix. Well, guess what? If all your money is going to Phoenix, you're probably not going to have quite as strong of a ground force, which is a play you can sometimes make against the Stargate, and that's the play that SirRobin's making right now, moving across with his roaches. Like I said, though, you can just come across here, kill this queen, and how much anti-air is here right now? 0 anti-air at all. And he's going to go ahead and throw down as many spore crawlers as he can. In the meantime, we do have the attack on the other side of the map, roaches and lings. But a nice defense here from puCK. It might be really difficult, I think, for SirRobin to get in here and do anything.
It is a big ramp, though. It's going to be a lot of force fields to go around, but 3 are enough, and when correctly placed like that, well, that's going to make sure that your roaches can't get in. Half of them do get in, but they're going to be trapped right now. These Phoenix is going to town on these Overlords. My gosh, they're nowhere close to spores right now. So we're seeing supply blocks all over the place for SirRobin. Queens are dead, so no injects. And this attack right here just simply did not do the job. This is setting up to be a very big struggle for SirRobin in the mid game.
Yeah, he has 2 queens right now. It's 10 minutes into the game and he has 2 queens out. Absolutely horrible for many reasons. Queens are just this great all-around unit. They can defend, they can attack if you happen to have a Nidus or creep, They can heal things, they inject, they get your economy going. It's really difficult, and as you can see right now, we do have a huge bank coming in from SirRobin, and a lot of times that's just because you just simply don't have enough larvae. He does have 11 in the bank right now, which is pretty good. So he lost those queens at, you know, a fortuitous time, if you can say that losing queens is ever fortuitous. That would be it. And just really difficultly, I mean, that Void Ray is just at the right range. These Phoenix can come in here and just barely lift off. If the Sport Crawler was a little bit more forward, he'd be okay. Catches a queen out of position. This is absolutely brutal for SirRobin. Oh, and both of the queens go down. Hydra's coming out, though. This could be the moment in time where he runs through. Are there enough Hydras? Keep in mind, Hydras actually don't do that well against the Phoenix when they get lifted up, but ooh, man, what a defense. How slim a margin that was to get those Hydras just barely out in time to save this hatchery for the time being. But keep in mind, still pretty strong forces out on the map right now for puCK.
The other tricky thing, too, is if those Hydras popped out only like a couple at a time from that natural, then they just get lifted up, and then your Hydra defense is just poof out the window. But yeah, it worked out well for SirRobin there. He did lose the queens, though, which is unfortunate for him. He's having to remake those again, which, of course, puts a further damper into his macro. puCK now finally taking his third base. Well, actually, it's finished, I should say. And, well, I think he's looking pretty good here. He's even on supply with the Zerg, which is generally not supposed to be the case in the mid-game. The Zerg is usually at least 20 to 30 ahead. And also, the worker supplies are even. So puCK right now is in a great spot if he can continue the harassment.
I gotta say, for sure, though, great defense from SirRobin. So much credit for dealing with that, and in the way that he did. It's a very difficult defense that he made happen there. And, you know, we just have this mat. The thing is about Phoenix is it's this double-edged sword, right? If you have the Phoenix do extra damage to the Hydralisks when they're lifted, the Hydralisks do extra damage to everything because they just kill stuff, and that's what Hydralisks do. So it just becomes this high DPS, low HP battle, and oh no! He wasn't paying attention, he looked away at the wrong time. Half his army engaging, he's got a lot of queens. You know, when I said earlier when queens can attack, when queens attack, this is when it happens. He's got a nice concave here, but he might just not have enough units to push through. We'll see. Reinforcements coming in, super critical at this moment in time. These queens getting stuck by the time warp, great time warp by the mothership core coming through here, but this is looking really great for SirRobin. He's got a lot of units, and he split off the third from the natural. Not a lot of defense here from puCK. With more and more reinforcements coming through, SirRobin might be able to deal mortally wounding damage to puCK.
Yeah, puCK right now is just struggling to try to warp in some more gateway units, which aren't really particularly well upgraded, by the way. Just +1 attack. There are legs on the charge lots, which is good, but no blink. And so really, how big of a factor can the Phoenix play? Because that's probably the biggest part of puCK's army right now. Lots of cannons going up at the third base. They will be allowed time to finish as a photon overcharge buys enough time for the cannons to get up. But SirRobin, is he going to continue to contain? The one tricky thing is he always has to keep those queens with the army. So that's going to limit his mobility and quickness because he always wants to get in those transfuses whenever he can. But here we go. He's moving in onto that third base right now.
The queens are all alone.
Intercept. Yeah, that's the tricky thing, man, keeping those queens with the army. But looked like the Hydras and Roaches are going to go to town on that Nexus. Queens, though, getting massacred by the Zealots. Will the transfuses go where they need to right now? Phoenix lifting up everything else. puCK is looking pretty good here now.
Yeah, he is looking pretty good. Like you said, you've got to keep the queens with the army. It's really difficult to do off creep. Maybe should have waited until he had some more creep. A lot of different things that are probably going through his head right now. But as he loses this battle, he is in a huge deficit here as the counter push comes in from puCK. This is going to be incredibly difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's not the first time we've seen this sort of happen to SirRobin now. The previous game as well, if you remember Jack Attack, you mentioned this yourself. The mutas were not all together when they needed to engage. Seemingly that's happened again here where the queens were not with the full army when they needed to engage. But that's kind of been the undoing of SirRobin, and here now he is down by over 20 supply, down by 11 workers, and it's looking difficult for him as puCK is flirting with the idea of pushing on a creep.
Yeah, taking a fourth as well. That's always the bad sign. For those of you new to StarCraft, the Zerg are a very expansion-heavy race. They tend to be one base ahead. They really like to be one base ahead whenever they can. I mean, of course you always do, but if you look at a Zerg with one base ahead, you say, okay, that's kind of usual, nothing big. If you look at even bases, you're like, oh wow, even bases. Even then, when you see an even base Zerg versus a Protoss, you can almost always say, yeah, the Protoss is doing well here. And we have the extreme example where the Protoss is taking a base. I mean, this Nexus is probably going to be finished before a fourth for, SirRobin even enters into his brain. Actually, I think no fourth being entered into the brain of SirRobin at all. I'm pretty sure he's just going to crank units here and try to make it happen on his 55 drone count, which is he's pretty much been doing that the whole time, right? He got his 55 drones, 56 drones up, and he just said, all right, I'm going to push until you're dead. But unfortunately, puCK just, defended expertly, almost fell there a couple of times. Nice little move. Oh my god. What? This hero zealot going to the watchtower at the exact correct moment to scout this attack. Now, there's a big concave available for SirRobin here, which is nice. The phalanx of the Protoss units coming in, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. The queens are here as well, and the Zerglings don't know what they're going to do in the meantime. Oh my god, I think this is just a common numbers game at this point. How are you going to deal with this much Protoss army? It's looking really bleak here for SirRobin. We have +3 and a Dark Shrine, if it wasn't bad enough, coming through here. The Phoenix, I think, the fact there's a lot of supply in the Phoenix makes it a little bit less conducive to direct base attack, which is why he retreated before. But now I think he's got this strong ground army that he can use to push on this base until it breaks.
Yeah, and the storms, even if they don't land, they do things like this, force the army to back off and sort of zone out those units. Now, of course, they just land on top of them, which is even better. And you know what? Another thing here is that it's not just quantity, it's also quality, because SirRobin has been kind of in all-in mode for like the last 10 minutes, and he has had no upgrades at all for his army. 0-0.
None.
puCK about to get +3, not +2. And, well, there you have it. GG, and puCK is now up 2-0. Not a number we usually arrive at after game 2, but we are at that point where game 3 is going to be match point.
Yep. Just excellent play from puCK overall, and really close. I feel like a lot of that game was really close, back and forth. SirRobin made a good push, puCK made a good push, and then in the end, that just sort of fell over, and it was puCK's victory there. But excellently played by both players.
Yeah. I think a big factor was the Phoenix early on. It did catch SirRobin off guard. I kind of noticed too when he first saw those Phoenix, like when the Phoenix were attacking that Overseer, the spores didn't immediately go up. He didn't start putting up those spores until the Phoenix like made their way to his base, and I don't know, maybe that was like a little too slow, to be safe. I mean, he started losing queens left and right. Overlords, the supply blocking, the lack of larva really killed him in the mid game, I think.
Yeah. It was a very narrow hold, and I think really that's what pushed him into that move where he's like, all right, you know what? I'm behind. The way that I do this is just stick on the drone count I have and just slam forward with Roach Hydra, and it almost worked. I think that's really had the right idea there, but couldn't really pull it off.
Yeah. Well, we're heading to game 3 now, guys. It's going to be Vonnie Research Station. And let's see if SirRobin can, get some of that swagger back, because that does happen a lot on Fight Night, guys. Some player, is on the ropes in game 3, game 4, and they do tend to make comebacks. So we'll see if that will be the case yet again here on Fight Night Week 19 now. My gosh, I can't even believe that is the number that came out of my mouth. 19 weeks in a row and still counting.
It is the great number for you Stephen King Dark Tower fans. We are at 19 games. Be happy and rejoice. It's all 19s all the way down. But it appears that David Kim has changed puCK's race to Terran in the lobby, as he oftentimes does. It's very sort of, Terran's really great. I haven't asked you actually. What race do you play? Do you have a primary race? Do you play all the races equally, or?
So my main race is Protoss, but for a long time now I've been playing random, and I think my Terran it's not quite as good as Protoss yet, but it's getting there. I think I can safely say I main as both Protoss and Terra now. Not so much.
Nice.
Zerg.
Have you been
Zerg
playing any of that Legacy of the Void?
You know what? I got it, but I have to admit I haven't really played that much because I'm not really a ones player, and Archon mode has kind of been dead. Just saying.
Oh, actually,
What about
man,
yourself?
after that recent, it's been a lot easier to find games after that like 20% burst of people come in. I can pretty much always find Archon games now. It's really
should
nice.
do that.
I
I should
love
do this.
Archon mode. Oh my god, holy crap, is
Yeah.
that fun? Oh man.
I gotta revisit that again. How about yourself?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man, I play random. I played Zerg in Brood War. I was a D- IC Cup player myself. Is,
Nice.
For those of you
Nice.
who are new, that is the lowest possible race. You actually start at D, and then I actually went down to D-. So I had a lot of fun getting owned by people on IC Cup and learning the ways of the Zerg. And speaking of Zerg, in this game, spawning in the bottom center section, Vani Research Station. It is the player with home field advantage. Can he convert it into a win on Team Gravity's Fight Night? It's Team Gravity's SirRobin.
Well, he's gonna need 3 wins against this guy because he is down 0-2 in this match point, game number 3. Red Protoss spawning on the very top of Vani Research Station, playing for flip side tactics, and just 1 win away from closing this out and getting yet another victory on Team Gravity Fight Night, guys. This is puCK. Now, is home field advantage even a thing in StarCraft?
There's home server advantage, but they're on the same server.
There's home server advantage, yes.
No. But you know, if you're playing with more ping than your opponent, that is a distinctive. That's way more than like, okay, you know, you're playing in Yankee Stadium and you know you're not the Yankees. Ooh, that kind of sucks. Or you know, you're playing in the Superdome or wherever you're playing, and it's like you're on the away team and the roar of the crowd and all that. But that doesn't really happen so much in StarCraft. The closest we get to that is the whole server advantage, where you're playing with more or less ping than your opponent. But we're looking at one of those things that we were talking about earlier, expanding over on the left side of Vani Research Station instead of the right, is SirRobin opting for that fancy move.
Helps with creep spread, reinforcements, sort of moving towards that third in the gold spot, and just getting the minerals from there. So, yeah, it's an interesting tactic. SirRobin looks like he is a fan of that. We're gonna see a gateway expand from puCK here. On the other hand of things.
Yep, nice and safe. So no Nexus first over here. Just getting the gateway down. No fancy business at all.
This
and
is fancy.
Whoa, I take it back. We got some fancy, huh? We got some fancy right here, man. And it is absolutely scouted.
A few more probes.
We got a
coming
2-hatch
out.
here. And keep in mind. Hey.
Hi.
Very straight.
5 probes pulled off the line. Just enough to weaken that hatchery, but not to go too crazy with delaying minerals mining. And the idea, of course, is to force that cancellation at some point, which, you know, could be
5
coming.
is a critical number. It is exactly what you need to do more damage to the hatchery than the hatchery heals by growing. But it's not like he's going to kill it. The Zealot coming in is kind of big, and that's going to be fine. But he's lost a lot of minerals by just doing this over here. Just about a minute off the line here for all of these workers at this point. By the time they get back there, oh my God, cancel it! Oh my God, SirRobin! Woo! Oh wow! Wow. Yeah, but that was 5 workers off for about a minute. And that's much more minerals lost. That's 45 minerals lost for each of those. So we're looking around the 250 area for lost mining time to puCK compared to the only 75 minerals lost. He even gets the drone back. Look at that. And he's going to go ahead and drone up in the meantime.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is you know, you might be thinking, okay, well, then again, SirRobin does invest 300 in something that, you know, may delay the rest of his build order. But then you have to remember too that when Zerg have larva, once that cancellation happens, D D D D D, and then you have like 4 drones out.
So you just hold
Right.
down that D key, man, and there
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
Back up and
don't
running.
even press D 4 times. Just hold
go.
it.
That's right. You know, we're all about efficiency. You know, us StarCraft players, and just hold that button down. You're good. Pro
Less
tips
wear
for
and
all
tear
you
on
new
the
players
keyboard
out there.
as well.
Yeah.
So there's a third base being made. It's going to be back in the normal spot for a natural. So I guess SirRobin isn't going to go ahead and take that gold just yet. While
This is a really
puCK
fast
gonna
third
take a
from puCK. Wow.
yeah, I mean his thinking is, well, you delayed your business for so long. I'm just going to take a third. He probably doesn't envision SirRobin going for some crazy speedling all in like now or something. So yeah, good decision there for puCK.
Great timing on this overload. He's going to come in, check. He's going to be able to see, okay, there's a third base. And this is kind of a difficult third base to hold for a Protoss player. Of course, not impossible, because otherwise the map wouldn't exist. But there's a lot of surface area around here, kind of difficult. You see a lot of Protoss players come back into the area where they can get a little bit of a choke with their sentries. But as far as tech is concerned for puCK, I don't believe we see anything just yet. Still hasn't quite decided, going with that low-tech gateway build, which is usually, you know, if you're going to go for a fast third, if you also go into tech, it's incredibly risky. Going instead of the low-tech move is almost always what you're going to see with this kind of a play.
Yeah, this is almost like a return to game 1 in some sense. Of course, the difference is in game 1, he built most of the gateways before taking the third. Now it's the opposite, as we're seeing most of them finish now. SirRobin, on the other hand, halfway through with his lair, speed 2/3 done. Everything's just a little bit delayed due to the proxy hatchery subsequent cancellation.
And he wanted to take that gold base, you know, but there was a pylon blocking it there. That was a really nice move. Delayed that expansion a lot. And he is still going to go for the gold base. He's still going to go for that expansion, but, you know, that makes him a lot more vulnerable. By delaying that base, it makes it more possible for puCK to come in and punish that base before he can really get his money's worth out of it.
Absolutely. And we're seeing the Twilight Council finish up now. Maybe we're looking at a nice big blink attack here, possibly, because I don't see Robo or Stargate or anything like that. And then, yeah, there's that blink being researched right now.
Yeah.
If this is going to be 3-base blink, could be kind of like what we talked about before the series started.
Absolutely. And I mean, even in the other game, even in that first game, it was a bit of a 3-base blink. It wasn't exactly, you know, quite as straightforward. But I mean, that's the kind that you see, right? You see a lot of sentries early on for defense, and then they incorporate really well with the blink play. Ooh, that is awful, man. Yeah, if you're a Protoss, though, you're super happy about that. You're eating up them Zerglings for free. They're quite delicious.
They are. As SirRobin, though, is in the meantime banking up a lot of resources for what? Well, puCK knows, too, that it is a Spire. And that's going to be potentially a lot of Muta coming out soon. But before that can happen, looks like puCK wants to move out.
They're just barely missing each other here.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Not beyond the Zephyr over here. Ooh, this position from puCK is really strong. And the units for SirRobin are... where? He's got some Zerglings, but I mean, he's got
saving up for Mutas. 15 of them coming soon.
Man, this is a really critical time for puCK to be attacking. He can get in there. The fact that he's delaying as long as he has, he can't possibly know that the timing is so perfect for him to move in right now. But I mean, if he had moved directly in at that point in time, it would have been pretty much all over. The time being, though, he is going to be able to get these Zerglings and Mutas all at about the same time. If he can gather them together and make his attack without losing too many Mutas. 1, 2, 3 Mutas lost already.
That's big.
And now he's got his position here. And he is, oh, wow. He's just going to go for it. I don't know about this move here. He's got the recall, and puCK very intelligently to come over here, recall only half of his units, and the rest of the units will be able to do whatever they want to do, or thinking about it. Yeah, there it is. There's the recall.
And puCK can also warp in at home, too. So whatever he also warps in will join that defense. Let's see if he did recall the right amount of units. Right now, these Stalkers holding down the fort for the time being. The rest are still yet to arrive. Cannons are being taken out right now by the Mutas. More Zerglings streaming in as the cannons are going down, but there's 2 more that are finishing up here. And where are the recalled units from puCK? I think he recalled to the main base, and only now they're joining the fight after the initial Stalkers died.
Yeah, a lot of workers being killed here. I mean, to be fair, SirRobin lost the whole base, but he's coming back as much as he can. Ooh, not the way to fly back. Oh man, losing a bunch of extra Mutalisks there. I mean, he does want to get back as quickly as possible, but losing a bunch of extra Mutas, not the preferable way to be doing things, and this is incredibly difficult position for SirRobin. He's going to have to do what he can. Oh, wow. He is all about those Zergling sandwiches, like you said. You know, force fields the bread, and it's all over.
Yep, and, well, it's a great, delicious meal right now for puCK. He is feasting on these mutas right now. Stalkers on high and low ground. GG from SirRobin, and it is a rare thing, but we will be seeing a shutout here. 3-0 victory for puCK. Congratulations to him, and the man is now $10 richer.
Mm-hmm. That esports money.
Nom, nom, nom.
So good.
So, you know, I think SirRobin lost a little too many mutas there. I did a quick count before that game ended. 10 mutas lost. So that greatly cuts down on, you know, that smoking gun that you thought would be the thing. You saved up 1,600 gas to just pump out all these mutas at once, and then you lose 10. Well, that's not really going to help you in the long run, and that's why we see puCK here.
Yeah, that critical timing where he comes and he attacks before SirRobin is prepared, before he's got his concave and his units all hatched and ready to go. He may not have hit while the mutas were, you know, at the very beginning of them building, but he did hit in time, so that it was sort of SirRobin had to sack that base, pull back, and end up saying, okay, you know what, I can't even gauge this army. I'm just going to go for the base trade, and he just had. Yeah. So it's just so hard to base trade a Protoss in general. I mean, with that recall, it's just really, really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, SirRobin got a lot of work done, you know, to his credit at that third base of puCK, but not the same. It wasn't an eye for an eye there. No. So yeah, puCK hit at the right time.
A fingertip or something. You know,
yeah, exactly. I mean, puCK hit at the right time. He scouted that Spire still in construction. He's like, okay, I got to move. And, well, now he's 3-0 and the victor. So when we come back, we're going to be having the most amazing headliner match, probably the one that I'm most excited about. I think the great thing is I say that with every week because it really is getting better and better. Week 19 now, guys. We're going to have Tasia versus Parting, folks. That's going to be awesome. Best of 7 for an $80 prize to be split between the two. I can't wait till we get back from this break. What do you think, Jack Attack?
Oh my God, I've been looking for this like since yesterday. I mean, well, I've been looking for this since I found out that it's happening. But I like really started getting like, oh my God, tomorrow's Christmas. I get to cast this game. The series is gonna be so good. Really excited. Parting is in incredible form right now. I mean, as much of a beast as Tasia is, Parting is going crazy right now. He's like definitely up there on my list, at least for the best player in the world right now.
Well, you got second in the GSL for a reason. So, like I said, we're going to go to a short break. Don't go anywhere, guys. The best is yet to come. We'll be right back.